was exceptionally beautiful. I'm going to show an inspirational interval, and so I'm turning off the lights because it looks best when you can actually, and I'm not even going to introduce it much. I think this guy's words and the beautiful pictures are going to speak for himself. Here we go.
It is not death most people are afraid of. It is getting to the end of life only to realize that you never truly lived. There was a study done, a hospital study, on 100 elderly people facing death close to their last breath. They were asked to reflect about their life's biggest regret. Nearly all of them said they regretted not the things they did, but the things they didn't do, the risks they never took, the dreams they didn't pursue. I ask you, will your last words be, if only I hit, hey, you, wake up. Why do you exist? Life is not meant to simply work, wait for the weekend, and pay rent. No, I don't know much, but I know this. Every person on this earth has a gift. And I apologize to the black community, but I can no longer pretend. Martin Luther King, that man never had a dream. That dream had him. See, people don't choose dreams. Dreams choose them. So the question I'm getting to is, do you have the courage to grab the dream that picked you, that befits you and grips you? Or will you let it get away and slip through? You know, I learned a fact about airplanes the other day. Now, this was so surprising. See, I was talking to a pilot, and he told me that many of his passengers think planes are dangerous to fly in. But he said, actually, it is a lot more dangerous for a plane to stay on the ground. I said, what? Like, how does that sound? Well, he said, because on the ground, the plane starts to rust, malfunction, and wear much faster than it ever would if it was in the air. As I walked away, I thought, yeah, makes total sense. Because planes were built to live in the skies, and every person was built to live out the dream they have inside. So it is perhaps the saddest loss to live a life on the ground without ever taking off. See, most of us are afraid of the thief that comes in the night to steal all of our things. But there is a thief in your mind who is after your dreams. His name is doubt. If you see him, call the cops and keep him away from the kids, because he is wanted for murder, for he has killed more dreams than failure ever did. He wears many disguises, and like a virus will leave you blinded, divided, and turn you into a kinda. See, kinda is lethal. You know what kinda is. It's a lot of kinda people. You kinda want a career change. You kinda want to get straight A's. You kinda want to get in shape. Simple math, no numbers to crunch. If you kinda want something, then you will kinda get the results you want. What is your dream? What ignites that spark? You can't kinda want that. You gotta want it with every part of your whole heart. Will you struggle? Yeah, you will struggle, no way around it. You will fall many times, but who's counting? Just remember, there's no such thing as a smooth mountain. If you want to make it to the top, then there are sharp ridges that must be stepped over. There will be times you get stressed and things you get depressed over, but let me tell you something. Steven Spielberg was rejected from film school 3 times, but he kept going. The television execs fired Oprah, said she wasn't fit for TV, but she kept going. Critics told Beyonce that she couldn't sing, she went through depression, but she kept going. Struggle and criticisms are prerequisites for greatness. That is the law of this universe, and no one escapes it. Because pain is life, but you can choose what type. Either the pain on the road to success, or the pain of being haunted with regret. You want my advice? Don't think twice. We have been given a gift that we call life, so don't blow it. You are not defined by your past. Instead, you are born anew in each moment, so own it now. Sometimes you gotta leap and grow your wings on the way down. You better better get this shot off before the clock runs out, cause ain't no overtime in life, no do-over. And I know I sound like I'm preaching or speaking with force, but if you don't use your gift, then you sell not only yourself, but the whole world short. So what invention do you have buried in your mind? What idea, what cure, what skill do you have inside to bring out to this universe? Uni meaning one, verse meaning song. You have a part to play in this song. So grab that microphone and be brave. Sing your heart out on life's stage. You cannot go back and make a brand new beginning, but you can start now and make a brand new ending.
Almost have to let a little silence go after you watch that. So on an entirely, completely different note, switch gears a little bit. If you were in a horror movie, you would know better than to go down to the basement by yourself, right? Or to go camping with a group of teenagers in the woods. You probably wouldn't stay a night in a hotel that had a series of mysterious deaths, right? Or build a house on an Indian graveyard. It's part of the fun, if you think horror movies are fun, knowing the inevitability of what's about to happen from the omniscient point of view of watching the movie. Now, I do confess that horror movies are not really my genre, but I've seen a few by accident, not knowing what I was getting into, and then who hasn't yet, and they're kind of in our culture, you know, and I've certainly shared many a scary story around the campfire. I can enjoy that. And life is plenty scary anyway. Life is plenty scary. And when life is scary, it becomes real. I think part of why we enjoy the scary story or the scary movie is because you're gripped, you know, right? You're paying attention. Just the other day, I was in the dentist chair, and the hygienist was doing that scrapey thing, and I was noticing how amazingly present I was. I was right there. I was there with every second. There was no way I could be anywhere else. I was right there. And it wasn't scary, and it really wasn't even painful, but I was highly invested in what was going on. And I was present. So what does being present in a scary moment have to do with the spiritual path? Well, everything. Last week, I found myself in a pretty scary moment. Roland was having surgery, and I was waiting. He's fine. I'm fine. It all went well. But last Friday, from 10 minutes to 8 a.m. until I saw him at 2:30, I felt as if my heart was outside of my body. There was absolutely nothing I could do but be there. And yes, I did pray. I prayed. But mostly, I was just in the room. Because that is what my spiritual teachers say. My spiritual teachers say to be present, to get your whole self in the moment. That's the way to get enlightened. And I didn't want to waste a good rebirth from the universe. Here is the spiritual principle I'm talking about today, which was so beautifully illustrated by that wonderful movie we saw. Life is precious, right? Life is precious. We are so incredibly lucky to have been born. And we're lucky to have been born a human being. We're lucky that we have cognizance. And you know what else? We're extremely lucky, and it's very rare to have been born a human being and to have been on the path, to be on the spiritual path. You know, a lot of people aren't even on the spiritual path. We're so lucky. Because if you walked into this room, you're on the spiritual path. You are fortunate that you chose to walk the spiritual path toward enlightenment, or toward becoming the Christ self, toward becoming the Buddha, all of those things, toward becoming peaceful. Anything that wakes us up out of the dream of unconsciousness is a tremendous gift from the universe. Really? Yeah, because life, every bit of it, is the vehicle. That's the vehicle for us to become enlightened. Life is the vehicle. And everybody knows it's full of everything, right? It's full of all of it. Well, all of us know what it's like to be in a fog. Have you spent time when you barely know what's happening? You know, who hasn't driven someplace and gone, how did I get here? Or maybe you don't do this, but I have had this terrible thing where I ask someone a question and they answer it, and then at the end of the question I go, oh my God, I did not listen to a single word they said. And this is what Pema Chodron, who's one of my favorite teachers, writes. As a species, we should never underestimate our low tolerance for discomfort. To be encouraged to stay with our vulnerability is news that we can use. Mindfulness, awareness practice, meditation is our support for learning how to do this. It is the foundation of bodhicitta training. It is the natural seat, the home ground of the warrior bodhisattva. Now, a lot of times I don't use Buddhist words, but I wanted to use them today and describe them. Just for a little bit of waking upness. So bodhicitta is a Buddhist term. It means the enlightened mind, or the state of enlightenment. In Unity, we would call that the Christ mind. I also like to call it the true self. That's what we're heading toward. That's what we are, but that's what we're trying to fully realize. And bodhisattva is a being that's devoted to enlightenment. It's also a being that's devoted to everyone's enlightenment. So a bodhisattva is somebody who is on the enlightened path, but knows that we all got to go together. So bodhisattva, one of the stories is that the bodhisattva is an enlightened being that says, well, I can't leave Earth. I need to stick around till all the rest of us get it. That's one of the stories about it. So, and meditation is our practice. It is the gift. It is one of the ways that we head toward enlightenment. And meditation cultivates loving kindness and compassion. It's not just about heading us to this being of that, say you're an enlightened being. I don't know about you, but you might picture glowingness and kindness and floating on the ground, and nothing bugs you, not even when people cut you off on the freeway. And it just, you're just like, right? That's how you are. But the best part about the spiritual journey is that you get it at any time. If you watch that movie and there was any part of you that said, well, it's too late for me. No, no, no. That is not true. Anytime. Like right now. Anytime, any moment. It's never, ever too late. It's always time. You can always be awake. You can always have a dream. You can always evolve spiritually. It doesn't matter what happened before. In fact, it's irrelevant what happened before, because it always is this moment. This is the only moment that's going to take us. Okay? The only moment that's going to take us. I want to talk a little bit about why we meditate. The reason, or the whole purpose of this meditation thing, is that it's going to teach us to be in the present moment, and it's also going to teach us to love ourselves in the present moment. And we can't be taught that too often. It's not exactly in our culture that we have an innate loving kindness toward ourselves and every human being. If you got raised that way, God bless you. But I wasn't, and most of the people I know, through no fault of anybody's parents, we're not raised with that innate sense of, wow, I'm okay. I love, I don't have to worry. The Christ, I am the Christ. And man, Dan's okay too, and Brian and Portia and Roland and Chris and everybody in here, they're all okay. I was raised with, what is he wearing? I feel a little uncomfortable. Like, do you have that chatter in your head? That chatter? Or, that's about the other people, and then the other stuff that's going on is like, well, how do I look today? Are people listening to me? Am I going to say something stupid? Yes. What's going on? You have that too. That's how most of us came up. So it's really important to do the meditation. Trust me on this. Trust me on this. It is the spiritual practice that is going to save your life. Loving kindness, meditation. Right? The taking a moment where you learn to treat everything with your big, beautiful, open heart of love. Okay? So that's why we have the meditation. That's why we do a little 2-minute meditation every Sunday. That's why we have the meditation Wednesday nights. And let me tell you, if you want to meditate, and the easiest way possible, you should come to some of Deb's events. Deb does healing sound meditations. This Tuesday, there's a full moon gong bath. That is absolutely my favorite. You come in, you sit down, and because there's this wild, wacky, awesome music from the gongs, you're able to sit there and concentrate and be in that healing energy. So any of her events, it feels really easy to meditate. And if you come Wednesday, I'll teach you, I always give a little few minutes of instruction. We play a little soft music. You gradually get led into silent meditation, and end with some talking and support. Now, meditation is not just about feeling good. It's not about actually meditating and feeling lifted up, although that can happen. It takes us just where we are. And it's making space for you to confront who you are. Right? The meditation, the quiet prayer, it's making space for each of us to find the connection. To find the truth. Trying to fix ourselves is not helpful. That's the other thing about this practice. You keep practicing over and over again. In fact, this practice is about honoring ourselves as the source of wisdom and compassion. When we say that statement of faith, there's only one presence and one power in my life, that's a big deal. It's a different point of view. in unity than some traditional Christianity. It's a big deal. Let me read this again. Honor ourselves as the source of wisdom and compassion. We learn to honor ourselves as a source of wisdom and compassion. So it's one power, one presence, and it's in here. And that's what meditation will do for you. All right, back to scary movies. Back to my personal scary movie. Last week, I was waiting, and there was one moment that felt intolerable to me. More than one, the one that really hit me. I'd waited the whole time during the surgery, and the doctor came out to tell me that everything was fine, and the nurse came to take me to where I could wait, and where they would, and then they would come get me so I could see Roland. He was out of surgery. They were going to put him in, the surgery after ICU, and I was going to wait. They took me to a different place, and I was supposed to wait there, and they were going to get me. And in my head, that was going to be an hour. So after about an hour of waiting, by then I was like, I hadn't seen him. I found myself getting angry. I wanted to make someone do something. I wanted to make them let me into the ICU and see Roland. Well, I recognized that I was losing my presence. I recognized that getting angry is a habit to deal with uncomfortable feelings. When I have an uncomfortable feeling, I like to blame. I wanted to blame those people for not letting me see my husband. Most of the time I like to blame him, but this time I wanted to blame them. But you see, because I am in training, and I'm really in training, to be a warrior bodhisattva, and since I had at least that morning been reading my books, I had armed myself with reminding myself of the practice of experiencing my emotional distress and paying attention to the present moment. So I was able to stop and ask myself, well, is this where I'm going to lose it? Am I going to, lose my presence and lose it and go off and stop being in the moment and, get a few people mad at me too? Is this where I'm going to lose it? Or can I be present to myself with compassion? Could I, it really did feel like, it doesn't seem like much, and how could you wait all that time? But you all know how all of a sudden something happens and you feel like you cannot be in your skin, right? Whatever it is for you, there's just a moment where you want to scream or hit somebody. It's like this moment feels bad, maybe whatever sad news or grief or loss or uncomfortableness or illness or dentist chair, whatever it is, it's like, get me out of here. I do not want to be present. I would rather be anywhere else, thinking anything else, feeling anything else. Get me out of here. That's what this is the good news, people. This is what you want to happen. Because that's when you get to nail it. That's when you get to deal with it's a gift from the universe, man. Can you be present in the moment? Can you notice yourself? It doesn't mean you have to be perfectly. You don't have to be anyway. That's the good news. Like, even if I had lost it, it would have been okay. It wouldn't take away from the teaching. The moment is, can you be with yourself when you want to get out of your skin? Can you notice that you want to jump out of your skin? Can you hang with that? Can you have an open heart to that? Can you love yourself that? Can you love yourself as that? Can you be present to what is? Well, it turns out I was able to wait the half hour. So that was one tiny battle won. And there were many other moments when, maybe the battle hasn't been won. But that battle I was able to wait the half hour and recognize in myself. So I was able not to choose the anger at one time. Hey, once a month, yay, I didn't choose anger. was able not to choose anger. I was able not to go into my habit or my pattern and be present. And the reason was because I've been practicing. I would love to say that I practice for hours and hours every day. But I do practice for at least 5 minutes every day. My goal is half an hour every day to practice this quiet meditation time. I was practicing, so it makes it possible for all of us to meet ourselves when we need to. Now, let me just give a little pitch for why you want to do that. You all saw that movie about you have a gift. And let me be very clear about this. Whatever your many, many gifts are, you know, whether you're a real rocket scientist or a nanny or a gardener, whatever it is that your gifts are, an artist, a musician, there is something that only you can do that's deeper and more important than anything. And that is to be present, to show up with an open heart, to be in your skin for somebody else. How do I know this? Because all that day at the hospital, there were people, nurses, doctors, who showed up to me, and to Roland too, but they showed up to me and they were present. They were present at a time when I needed someone to just be there. And that gift, that's the priceless gift. And that's the gift that everybody here has. You know, whether or not we climb a particular mountain we set out to, I know this for a fact. I know this, that there is a time, today even, when you're going to be able to choose to be present. It might even be the person when you're in line at the store that you're present to, that you won't even know how your beautiful, open heart is going to connect to them and make all the difference. You know? Make all the difference. Every victory is sweet, and every meditation is training, and every moment of life is the vehicle until we all make it home. Let's take an offering for unity. I invite you to take